The GPSU in a press release said the arbitrary announcement is being done in conflict with the Constitution and laws of Guyana, International Labour Organization's core conventions and Declaration of the Fundamental Rights and Principles of Workers, and the legally binding collective labour agreement between the Guyana Public Service Union and the Government of Guyana. The union posited that it is because of the uncaring nature of the government that public servants, particularly those in the health sector and teaching services, choose to migrate rather than remain in this hostile, political, race-charged environment ineptly managed by an ungrateful, uncaring, and insensitive employer. And in other news, the AFC is firm on its intent to part ways with the APNU come year-end. Leader of the party, Camarade Ramjatan, yesterday during a press conference provided an update explaining that a number of differences between the two parties have led to its decision. For one, Ramjatan explained that the two sides had a fallout over the vice chair position for Region 4. Meanwhile, vice chair of the political group, Catherine Hughes, pointed out that the AFC has been trying to resolve these matters continuously. In fact, only about 3 months ago, she noted that the two sides met where the issues were again put on the table. While the party is resolute in its decision to part ways with the second largest political party, it is yet to formally communicate this with the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton. And moving on, Matthew Monroe, the 51-year-old taxi driver who was freed from a murder charge in May this year, is now suing the state for taking too long to give him a trial. According to court documents, Monroe wants the state to pay him more than $50 million for the loss of liberty, unlawful detention, and delay in reasonable trial for a period of 4 years and 6 months. Monroe spent 4 years and 6 months behind bars on remand for the murder of Kesia Branch, a Richard Ishmael secondary school teacher, who was found unconscious on November 5, 2017. She died 2 days later at the Georgetown Public Hospital from brain hemorrhage due to blunt force trauma to the head. The taxi driver was charged and remanded to prison on December 6, 2017, and remained there until he was freed in May of 2022, after a star witness failed to show up in court. However, according to Monroe, he was tried for the teacher's murder some 4 years after he was remanded, and it is for this reason that he is suing the state. And in other news, hundreds from the East Berbice Quarantine region on Friday received house lots from the Ministry of Housing and Water. The allocation exercise was held in the parking lot of Classic Hotel Quarantine Berbice. Some 300 house lots were allocated as part of the government's housing program in Region 6. The beneficiaries were drawn from the ministry's database and will be allocated residential lots ranging from low, middle, and moderate income in the number 75 and number 76 new housing schemes. And to wrap things up, let's tell you that Professor Pierre Dariand, the International Counsel for Guyana in the Venezuela-Guyana border dispute currently before the World Court, was among those who countered contentions raised by Venezuela that Guyana's case should be deemed inadmissible on the ground of a defect in a missing essential third party. The contention of a missing essential third party was raised by representatives of Venezuela on Thursday when the ICJ opened the floor to Venezuela to raise its objections. Venezuela's representatives argued that Guyana is not a proper party to the proceedings, but rather it was the United Kingdom that had historically negotiated a settlement of the then border dispute. As such, Venezuela wants the UK to be added to the proceedings as a necessary third party. The country argues that since this is not the case, Guyana's application for a full and final settlement of the border controversy should be dismissed. Professor Dariand, in his submission to the court, alluded to the ICJ's order that it had jurisdiction to hear the matter, even when Venezuela had declined to take part in the proceeding on a contention that the World Court lacked that jurisdiction. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
A&K Entertainment presents Curry Fest Chutney Show at iFlood Center Ground on Sunday, November 20th. Live entertainment